Okay, everyone. How are you today? Welcome to another edition of RegTech Live. Looks like we lost one of our guests already, but she'll reconnect. I am your host. My name is Chris Russell. I'm the managing director of RegTech Media, a company whose mission is to inform and educate the modern recruiter. We do that through podcasts, articles, ebooks, news, and webinars, like what you'll see today. This event centers around how to hold virtual hire events. And I'm joined by the team from Eightfold.ai based in Mountain View, California, who will present their tips and ideas and also demo how they help host these types of events overall. Just a reminder, you can find some additional research around virtual hiring tools and advice recently over on regtechmedia.com. I put those links in the chat as well as a link to Eightfold. And as always, you can watch the replay of this event using the registration link right after the show, or you can find it on our YouTube channel starting tomorrow. So let's introduce my guests. We have first Mihir Gandhi. He is the VP of Strategic Marketing at Eightfold, where he helps scale the organization through product and customer marketing. We've got Tracy Flynn. She joined Eightfold last fall, and she is their VP of People and oversees all aspects of global people operations. Welcome, Tracy. And her power is out today, so she's doing this from a cell phone, so hopefully she'll stay with us throughout this all. And finally, Quinn Adler joined Eightfold last spring as a senior member of the Solutions Engineering team. And he's been in technical consulting for the past 6 years and specializes in AI and machine learning. He'll do the demo for us later. So, Quinn, welcome to you. Mihir, we'll start with you. Give us a quick overview of Eightfold and go right into talking about hiring events.
Sounds great. Chris, thank you for your time, and thanks to all of you who are attending. We know that you have a lot of competing priorities right now, and we truly appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. We at Eightfold hope you're safe and healthy and finding the silver linings in the current environment that we're in. As Chris mentioned, my name is Mihir Gandhi, Vice President of Strategic Marketing here at Eightfold.ai. I'm excited to spend this time with you. Now, I'm here with my family. Hope you're home with yours. So if you see any 3-year-olds in Spider-Man outfits popping up in the background or hear any 1-year-olds crying for a bottle, just bear with us. There may also be some technical glitches. Tracy's power went out this morning, so she's taking this again from cell phone outside. So we're all in this together, sometimes quite literally. So now let's dive a little bit into why we're here today. And I want to set the framework for helping understand where Eightfold AI is coming from. Our mission at Eightfold is to help everyone in the world find the right career. Find the right career for everyone in the world. And we're more energized than ever in these times to do that. Now, the combination of powerful and talented talent acquisition leaders equipped with some of the best technology in the world will help us achieve those goals. And we firmly believe that. Now, I'm sure we all know family or loved ones who've been impacted by COVID and by this current pandemic. One of my colleagues has a brother just outside Philadelphia. His name is Eric. He's an executive chef at a restaurant near an airport. And let that sink in maybe for just a minute. People aren't going out to eat, let alone to fine dining, and certainly airport traffic has crawled to nearly nothing. It's not only is Eric suffering, but he's got to make some hard decisions in his life. He's got to make decisions about his staff, his servers, his busboys, his cooks, many of whom work 2 or 3 jobs just to get ahead. Now those folks are lost, right? They're in survival mode, trying to figure out what's next. How do keep the lights on in many cases? On the other side, on the educational side, we have graduates, a slew of people who are never getting a chance to apply and go through their typical, graduation environments and motions. High school seniors, college seniors, grad students, they've worked their tails off to get to where they are. And now they're facing the prospect of moving off campus, finding housing, and paying down debt. And they have to put countless hours into their careers. And, they're not looking for careers now. They're looking for a job. They're trying to find a way to just make it through this next pandemic. Now, on the employer side, many of you are still hiring. You have to bring in young talent. The conventional modalities of outreach just aren't going to cut it anymore. For the foreseeable future, we won't be able to shake hands, hand out business cards, host dinners, and execute our event strategies that we historically have relied upon. Now, this is the time for us to think about and rethink how we solve the problem. Right? And this is why we built the Eightfold virtual event recruiting product. The necessity, of course, is the mother of reinvention, and I think these kinds of environments will force us to find new ways to engage our audiences and maybe find out that we've been doing it wrong all along. Before we dive really deeply into virtual event recruiting, I want to take a minute to talk about a mission project that we've been involved with at Eightfold.ai. Along with our supporting partner, McKinsey, we've been working diligently on the talent exchange. Please visit Eightfold.ai to learn more. It's our main banner. It is what we spend a lot of our time on. Yeah. With the talent exchange, we're working with some of the largest brands in the world to get America back to work. We're donating our platform and a lot of our efforts, which is, by the way, free to everyone who's involved, to help companies like Walmart, Macy's, Lowe's, Walgreens, Airbnb, Instacart, United, Pizza Hut. I could go on. I mean, there's so many people doing the right thing who are here on the talent exchange. And our goal is to help the individuals, the impacted individuals. So we at Eightfold are dedicating a resource to all of the impacted companies to help affected individuals, whether they're laid off or furloughed, get on the exchange. We're also working with hiring companies to source, find, and ultimately fill talent in some of the urgently needed open roles. It's for knowledge workers, it's for essential workers, it's for blue collar, white collar, it's for anyone impacted by this pandemic. It is for everyone. So please visit Eightfold.ai to learn more. We'd love your support. We can only do this together. And so, please do that. Now, let's talk a little bit more about virtual event recruiting, what we're here to talk about. I certainly want to spend a minute just to talk about that. As I mentioned, our mission is to find the right career for everyone in the world, and it permeates everything that we do. We do it through a talent intelligence platform. It's the most effective way for companies to identify promising candidates, to reach diversity hiring goals, and to retain top performers, while also engaging talent internally. We patented an artificial intelligence-based platform that empowers enterprises to turn talent management, frankly, into competitive advantage. Quinn will go into a bit more of an overview of Eightfold during his demo. But now, I want to really introduce the virtual event recruiting component that we just launched. It enables you to continue all of your current event recruiting while turning your resume books into qualified pipeline instantly. We'll talk about how the platform does that in Quinn's demo. And as we talk with Tracy and you see the demo, please type questions into the chat function. We'll get to them at the end. I've seen a couple come through already. So let me talk a little bit about what you're going to see through the demo. Eightfold Virtual Event Recruiting, it's a product that will enable your TA teams to do a few things. Never scroll through resume books ever again. Recruit everywhere. Personalize interactions with quality applicants at scale. And never lose touch with candidates after you've met them. We'll instantly analyze resume books to identify high quality matches for your high priority requisitions. Will allow you in a very simple way to engage your talent, especially high quality talent, and then keep in touch with them in the long term for the months and years to come. We're fortunate to have Tracy Flynn with us. As Chris mentioned, Tracy was vice president at Visa for many years. She's got all kinds of experience. We're lucky to have her on the Eightfold family. Tracy, welcome. Would love to spend some time learning more from you.
Thank you, Mahir, and thank you, Chris, for offering this really wonderful platform for us to share in. I'm really excited to be here.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So
really
Tracy,
excited, actually, since I've had some challenges this morning.
Yeah, well, your video is cutting in and out, but your audio is great, and certainly I think a lot of us wish we were in a similar kind of scenic locale as you right now. So as we think about the virtual event recruiting environment. And what we built here, let's actually take a step back and just, if you could set the frame for us on the impact of event recruiting at Visa.
Yeah. So the reality is that when I first joined, I was at Visa for over 10 years, or right around 10 years. And when I first joined, the event recruiting and even mindset around it was really early stage, I would say, even though it was a global brand and it was a well-known brand. The impact of the events that we were doing were minimal, and I measure that from the standpoint of the number of hires and the ROI. The ROI was just astronomical for the number of hires that were made. But over time, we became very focused about how we looked at event recruiting and began to really think of it in terms of segments. So there was university recruiting, which was a major, avenue as it relates to event recruiting. Also, diversity and inclusion, which is a passion of mine, was one where we tried to integrate diversity and inclusion into every event that we were doing, and even focused events, whether it be veterans or women, that type of thing. And then we also looked at it from the standpoint of volume hiring, where we had large numbers of people that we needed to move into call center environments, that type of thing. And then lastly, we also focused events on internal talent and people that we had internally. But when I step back and think about it, the resources were significant in terms of the impact, in terms of the dollars that we spent, the number of people that were involved in doing this, time that was dedicated to this was unbelievable. There is an immense amount, and if there is a group of recruiters on the phone, you know, the advanced planning that is necessary to get a recruiting event off the ground is amazing. It is a lot of internal coordination, talent acquisition, university recruiting, marketing, big time, diversity and inclusion, as I mentioned, your hiring managers, getting them involved. It's unbelievable, the amount of time. And ultimately, you know, we went from hiring.
Hey, Tracy, I think we lost your audio. Tracy, I think we lost your audio. Can you try just one more time? Just at the end there. Oh no.
No. Let me, Tracy, we'll invite you back on. So I'm going to close you out and come back on. So, I mean, while we're waiting for her, here, do you have any tips on just, how to prepare for a virtual hiring event?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things Tracy just mentioned is the cross-functional nature and the impact of event recruiting. It's really a brand moment in a lot of ways for an organization. And the depth and coordination of those events show off the capabilities of an organization, and frankly are often the insight and the window into what it's like to be working at said organization. So organizations always want to show up organized, professional, friendly, and frankly communicative around what to expect about the event, during the event, and after the event. I think each of us probably has a story about a company that we screened out because we had a bad recruiting experience on the front end. And so, in this current environment, how do we think about fundamentally changing and shifting the way that we do virtual events now that we can't go shake those hands and meet those folks and go out to to dinners or do large scale recruiting events internally or externally, right, with our own employees or with talent we're trying to bring in. Tracy, welcome back. Can you hear us?
Tracy.
All right. I think maybe we should do, Chris,
she can't
hear us either. We'll have our team try to get her logged off and logged back in. But I think maybe the right thing to do is move into the demo. There are a couple more questions I wanted to ask Tracy. We could probably fill them in on the back end, but what I would love to do is have Quinn spend a little bit of time walking our audience through what we're doing here with virtual event recruiting. It is just a bit more of a preview. We have, of course, multiple modules and products within the Eightfold platform. The virtual event recruiting component, you'll be able to see how you can select individuals who are most likely interested in attending based on their skills, interests, and prior experiences. So instead of a broad outreach to a lot of folks to try to bring them into the into an event, and then in the event figure out who is the right fit for which role, using the platform to ultimately identify who those fits are going to be. If the company holds events around a specific job or opening that they wish to fill, the AI will show how each invitee closely matches to the requirements of each opening that you're hiring for, and Quinn will demo that as well. It encourages people to to come to the event, so there's a nurturing component involved as well that is highly personalized. So it's not, hey, please come to our event. It's, hey, these are the 3 or 4 skills that you have. This is why you should be attending our event. So it engages people on a highly personalized level at scale. And ultimately, it fits seamlessly into the platform, whether it's from talent experience to CRM capabilities, talent acquisition, smart scheduling. You'll see a series of products that we've rolled out over the past year that are all integrated into this. So as folks have questions, yep.
Is your platform, is it a chat-based event or is it a video-based event, or both?
It is a video-based event with chat-supported functionality. Yep. So with that, Quinn, let me flip it over to you. Would love to have you show folks what we're doing here.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mihir. Let me share my screen as well. And you should be able to see my screen okay.
Yep.
Excellent. So folks, my name is Quinn. I'm on our solutions engineering team here at Eightfold, and I really think it helps to frame why we're so personalized on the candidate front, like Mihir said, with a little bit of how our solution works. And so that's why I like to start a little under the covers with what really runs our engine. So we started training our models on about what success looks like for a certain role. Why, right? What are the skills you need to succeed in a certain position at a certain company? What kind of characteristics do you need? And we started training our algorithms on a large amount of data. We've ingested over 1.5 billion resumes to date to really understand at a granular level the relationship between skills and how skills might be, fairly likely that you might have one or the other if you have a certain skill as well. So what you're looking at here is a graphical view into the Eightfold skills library, with every blue dot being a skill. And what's really important to understand here is the distance between two skills. That indicates the likelihood that I have skill B, or that I can really easily learn skill B if I have skill A. So I'll go through a couple of examples here. I'll first jump into maybe operations or something along those lines. And the idea, if I can spell it correctly, that's always important. Let's see here. Here we go. So if I type into operations management as a skill, we can start to see a lot of the related skills to operations management. We can see logistics, process improvement, supply chain, facilities operations, things like that. And the idea here is, if I'm a candidate and I've got operations management as a skill, what's the likelihood that I also have these other skills in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen? Or on the other side of that coin, let's say I'm playing the role of a recruiter and I'm trying to hire for an operations management position, and I find a great candidate who does not have operations management as a skill, but they have a lot of these other skills in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. Can I hire that individual on potential, take that leap of faith, and then teach them operations management on the job itself? And that really is the big value proposition of Eightfold, is determining everyone's fullest potential, whether they say they have a skill or not. This also allows us to fill in the gaps that may or may not be there on someone's resume. We don't believe that someone shouldn't get a job because they're not good at writing resumes. That's not really the purpose of what they're getting hired to do. So by using this idea of related skills, inferred skills, we can determine whether someone says a skill or not, what their fullest potential might be. The rubber really hits the road when we take this same idea and take it to much more of a soft skill or a characteristic and competency approach. So, I can jump into coding languages or operations management or biopharmaceuticals. But if I jump into a skill such as multitasking, as an example, right? We can see this same paradigm start to take shape. Fast-paced environment, well-organized, self-motivated individual, energetic self-starter. These are a lot of the traits and characteristics that lend themselves to being a self-starter, right? Or a good multitasker. This idea of skills and adjacencies and related skills permeates everything that we do. This is the crux of our IP. So I think it's really important to touch on here before we jump into virtual event recruiting, because this really sets the groundwork for why Eightfold is different than the standard skills management company, and how our way of looking at skills through much more of a machine learning approach is more flexible, it's more agile than that standard tree-like structure that companies have been using for a couple of decades or so. So without further ado, I'll jump from this idea into the solution itself. So we're going to take the entire virtual event, from pre-event to holding the event to post-event as well. Keep in mind that when we created this product back in fall of last year, this was all meant to be for on-site recruiting, right? How do we help the recruiter or the event coordinator at the event to avoid having to just write a star on a resume and toss it aside? And that means, oh, follow up with that person. That, of course, does not scale. Since then, of course, with the pandemic that we're a part of, we've pivoted to a much more virtual event recruiting focus. But keep in mind that this event recruiting solution spans both on-site as well as virtual events. Now, this whole thing starts with some of these event details, right? The date and time it's occurring. Is it on-site at a certain event? Is it, a Zoom meeting, or is it based on Teams, or, what is your actual platform that you're using for the video-based piece itself? And we want to make the virtual event as much like an on-site event as possible. So we can offer best practices from our talent transformation team to allow you to structure this virtual event as well as possible. So here's an example of what this could look like, right? So in this example, we're playing the role of Acme Technologies. They're hiring at a hiring event for all the Bay Area universities in this example. And we give out some idea for how to structure this event, right? Start with a CEO kickoff for why Acme is properly positioned to be a disruptor in the industry that they're a part of. Maybe start with some cultural videos for why new graduates want to be a part of Acme Technologies. And then based on where your interest is, whether it's in product or sales or customer success, right, have those breakout sessions to get a little bit more of an intimate view into what those departments are structured like. And then, of course, if a candidate is a great fit for a certain position, or they're just a rock star in general, have those afternoon breakout sessions to talk with the recruiters, have an interview, and see why Acme is a good match for them. So we'll offer best practices on how best to structure these events. But first, what happens on the pre-event side? How do we get people to register? How do we get people matched with the right roles for them? And we'll jump into that right now. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is adding those target positions. What positions are you trying to target and hire for this event? Are they, internships? Are they new graduate roles? That all comes, from the talent acquisition piece. Another, our core of Eightfold, what we do is targeting and matching candidates to a certain position. So the first piece is, which target positions do you want to look at? The next piece is adding those candidates, and this can come from a wide variety of sources. If you're a part of an event that gives you a resume book of individuals with whom have already registered, right? Bulk upload those resumes to our system. They can be in a zip file, in an Excel, in a PDF, Word document, PNG, JPEG. We don't care what the format is of that resume, whether it's one-off or in bulk. Upload those to Eightfold, and we can automatically match those resumes to the jobs that they're a good fit for, just based off of the classes they've taken, if it's more of a university focus, the jobs they've held in their career trajectory for those more mature and senior folks. If in the case where you don't have a book of resumes, and maybe it's an event that you're hosting, maybe you're a part of an event that just doesn't give you a book of resumes beforehand, we want to give you the ability for candidates to register for the event. And that's where the nurture piece comes in that Mihir was just referring to. And I'll explain that in a few minutes here. So in this example, we can see that there's been about 106 people that we've invited to this event, and we can see the latest activity for these individuals, whether they've just registered, whether we've assessed them, and we'll jump into that as well. One of the big benefits from a time savings and overall efficiency perspective is whenever we upload someone to a certain event through the bulk resume upload I talked about, or if they register for the event as well, automatically matching a candidate with a suggested position and also giving them that match score as well. This can really allow us to hit the ground running And in this example, let's say, this person registers for the event. Our system matches them with a video algorithm engineer position, 4.5-star match. I can really easily click into that person's profile within Eightfold and see what makes them so special. And if I want to advance them to a certain stage in the ATS, maybe I want to schedule an interview with them right now, right? Even before the event happens. We can, Eightfold really takes its whole use case from screening and sourcing and event tracking all the way through CRM functionalities like emailing, texting the candidate, scheduling those interviews and hosting those interviews as well. So if I want to contact this person, if I want to schedule an interview with them, I can do all these things prior to the event itself. And if I have a great interview with this person, because our matching said they're a great fit for this video algorithm engineer role, maybe I can get them to apply for our company before the event even happens.
And Quinn, let me just interject. I don't think I've ever shared this story with you, but when we were working on an early version of this product, we were doing a military veterans back to work career fair. And as we deployed this with the companies that attended the career fair, they actually reached out, invited the high quality folks for interviews at the career fair where they had a breakout area, and it improved, of course, attendance at the career fair because there's typically a lot of no-shows. But it also helped guide the career fair attendees to the booth where they were already invited for an interview. And so, the experience of the pre-selection process, which is something that Tracy, when we get her back online, can talk about how painful that was in a more manual world. But just a real life example of this product and the impact on companies who are hiring military veterans.
Absolutely. Nice little vignette there, Mahir. And keep in mind, right, everyone has that story in their head of, this company didn't treat me well before the hiring event. It kind of has a black mark for you. But on the opposite lens, if I get contacted, if I get an interview scheduled and I have that interview before the event even happens, that company is top of mind for me. I'm going to attend that event. I'm going to be more interested in being a part of that company because they gave me that white glove experience. And that's what we're doing here on this pre-event screening, contacting, and emailing piece. And we did that live, as Mahir just talked about. So those are the individuals who we can automatically match to a suggested position, right? Let's now jump into what it looks like from the candidate's perspective and how can they really get access to register for this event. Before the registration piece, on the assessment piece, right? We want to get away from a recruiter is just drawing a star on a resume and saying, I'll contact that person later, right? We want to be able to answer real questions on the candidate profile that do not get lost in the rush. And so we allow you the ability to create as many of these assessment forms as you like, and even use a different assessment form based on the candidate that we're talking to. And so in this example, it could be something as high level as an internship position, or what job level are you seeking, what departments do you want, and then assessment results. It could be a little more granular on, rate my Python skills. What's my highest education qualification certificate? And answer some questions about why does the candidate want to join the company. Each event coordinator or whoever owns this event can create as many of these assessment forms as possible, as they like, to give a much more personal effect. And as we're interacting with that candidate during the event, answer some of those questions, and that feeds right into their candidate profile within Eightfold. That does not get lost over time. So now let's jump into the candidate's perspective, right? We want to give a very easy landing page, whether it's on mobile, whether it's on the web, to allow them the easiest way to register as possible. So, if you've got your phones out, I recommend that you take it out and take a quick picture of this QR code, and that will direct you to the mobile version of the registration page for this event. Now, keep in mind that we created this module back in fall of last year for on-site events. So for the on-site event piece, right, put this QR code on t-shirts, on banners, on posters. And so take the view of the recruiting event where someone pops in and didn't register for the event from the Eightfold customer's perspective, right there. Everyone wants to talk to the booth that has the most traffic, That's just a human instinct. So if I'm an individual who didn't register for Acme Technologies ahead of time, there's a massive line for Acme. If I just see this QR code, I take the snapshot with my phone, I upload my digital resume, right there, I'm automatically in that Acme Technologies Eightfold instance, and I'm automatically going to be matched to all the jobs that I'm a good fit for. So even though the student doesn't even know it, they can be contacted for positions, they can get scheduled for an interview, and they don't even have to stand in line and wait to talk to a recruiter, right? The AI and the matching algorithms are already doing its thing. Whether it's on the on-site side, which I just described, or on the virtual side, we still want to give a very easy way to register for these events. And so we can also, instead of a QR code, just have more of a URL to be able to post publicly, whether it's on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or to blast out through a nurture campaign to your talent community. And that's what I'll jump through now. So we've got the ability, as Mihir said, to have more of a nurture campaign approach, to create the registration campaign, create the follow-ups, to re-engage the invited campaign candidates, and finally remind them about the upcoming event details. All of this is utilizing our campaign functionality that we've had in our product for years. If I jump into the candidate's perspective really quickly, and I'll say, this individual, this is an example of an email that can get sent out to register for the event, right? Hey, Shannon, we want to know more about you. Here's what our event is going to be like. If you register for the event, we'll send you the actual Zoom virtual meeting, and let's reserve that spot. So clicking that link pushes me as a candidate into the desktop version of the mobile events registration page that you might have just seen. So I can see in this event here, I can see the jobs you're currently hiring for, the people who also work at Acme Technologies, and I can see a lot of these individuals here as well. But I can really easily register for the event, drag and drop my resume onto the screen. And when I agree to the data privacy policy, which obviously is very important for GDPR as well as CCPA, Eightfold takes security and privacy very seriously. But once I agree to that, the system scans through my resume, right, registers for me. Keep in mind as well that we can have personalized questions that you can ask when the individual registers as well. So in this example, why do you want to join the company? What locations do you want to consider for employment? What departments are you interested in? So these can be personalized and tailored based on your organization as well. And when Bobby registers for this event, he's automatically seeing all the jobs that you're hiring for that he's a strong and a good match for, right? Here's that first personalized piece. Thanks for registering. By the way, here's some jobs that we're hiring for that you're a good fit for right out of the gate. And if Bobby's so inclined, he can click into one of these positions. And this is where we jump into the talent experience piece of Eightfold, the Eightfold powered careers page, where I can show the candidate why he's a good match for this position. He's got the years of experience you're looking for. He's got startup experience, software experience. He went to Santa Clara University, which by the way is my alma mater as well. And previous hires also went there. And here's all the skills that he has that you are looking for this position. This is a much more tailored, personalized, and a warm candidate experience than what normal career sites are used to. So again, this is not part of the event solution per se, but this is just another way how all of these Eightfold products are so seamlessly integrated together to provide a much more personalized experience than what graduating students or what candidates in general are used to. And he can very easily say, I'm interested, or even apply for this position right here. As the event nears its beginnings piece, right, we want to send out more of these nurture campaigns to say, reminders, see you soon at the recruiting fair. And eventually we'll send out a campaign email that actually has the Zoom or the Microsoft Teams or whatever the URL is to join the event that we're interested in. And that's when the actual event occurs, right? We can offer best practices to be able to, utilize, as an example, Zoom's functionality for breakout rooms, to break out a larger Zoom room into product folks and sales folks and customer success folks to have a more intimate session. And then as we get to the actual interview piece of the virtual event, how do I bring up someone's profile, as an example, and then start assessing them, right? So if I'm talking to Amy over the phone, and again, instead of just putting that star on the resume, I can either scan it if she sent it to me ahead of time and I were to print it out and I can, scan it with my computer or my phone, or I can just start the assessment form right here, right? I can choose which assessment form I want to use and just answer a couple of these questions here. And this gets saved to Amy's profile. And then I can either accept or reject her from an overall assessment perspective, or even save her into one of the positions that we're hiring for this event. So if she's a good fit for this director of supply-based management, I can submit that, and then she automatically gets placed into the pipeline for that position. And that's where talent acquisition and event recruiting really mesh, right? And so that all replaces the star piece on the resume. I can see that Mihir already registered for this event, and he's an account executive for Spain. I can click into that event from a talent acquisition perspective and see how Mihir stacks up to all the individuals I have in the pipeline for that position already, right? And here we can see from the sourcing tab where Mihir might stack up. I can see all the stack ranked scores for all these individuals. And then if I want to blast out these individuals who are in this list, I can share them with the hiring manager. I can contact them from here. I can move them to a certain stage that pushes down to my ATS in real time. This really is so much of a time savings by automatically matching these candidates to the jobs that they're a good fit for, and then being able to contact them or interview them straight from here. Finally, the event concludes, and we want to be able to send out these post-event campaigns to follow up on the people who are a good fit for a role, thank those who are not a good fit for their time and interest, and then create an application campaign to actually engage all these event candidates who have already applied on your careers page. And that's where the nurture campaign component really, really takes shape. So if I go back to my email as the candidate here, right, I can start to see, hey, Andrew, thanks for talking to us during this event. You're a great fit for this position, this claims service representative role. As a next step, we'd love for you to apply for the position. And then he clicks that link. He gets pushed into, again, the Eightfold Powered Careers page where he says, oh, I'm a strong match for this claims specialist role. And I can see why I'm a good fit as well. Top 5% of applicants, I'd apply for that position just by seeing that. Right? Again, the insurance piece, the financial experience, and here's all the skills that Andrew has that are being asked for this position really speaks wonders for the personalization of this application experience. We're seeing, just so you know, that we're getting about a 38% application rate, which is 4 times the industry average for our personalized career experience. And then also we can partner with these with third-party solutions to get some feedback on this event. In this example, we're partnering with Qualtrics, who's an SAP company, but it could be SurveyMonkey, it could be anyone, to give some anonymized feedback for how this event could get even better in the future. Right, so we're very agile from a company's perspective. We're not just tied to working with Eightfold specifically. We love partnering with other companies because we know that one company can't do it all, and so we want to give some shout outs to those other companies who can make this experience even better for you. And just one last piece closing the loop, right? We want to give one easy way for anyone who's managing this event to understand and visualize the registered participants, the suggested positions they're a good fit for with that match score, any of the individuals we've assessed and where they've been saved in the system, and then finally the applications we get as well. All this is so seamlessly integrated with our scheduling solution, with talent acquisition, with our personalized career site, and it really saves so much time and money and efficiency up front. So I think with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and hand it back to you, Mihir. Whoa. How do I stop? Thank you.
That would have been appropriate for May the 4th, I guess.
So we do have questions, guys. Can you see the ask a question box down there? I'm not sure if you guys can or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We can see some of them. So maybe we can take them in order. And Chris, I think Tracy might be back in. If we can get her back in, that'd be great. But let me address some of those questions along with some of the other maybe frequent questions that we've been getting as we talk to folks about virtual event recruiting. And so I think one question was around individual job applicants directly going to customers' hiring sites. So yes, several of our clients do have something called personalized career site, where it's powered by Eightfold. Certainly, you can check out Conagra or Nationwide or AirAsia. Come top of mind. Check out their career sites. You actually just upload your resume and it matches you to those jobs. We are very much in service of our clients with the platform, rather than being maybe an aggregator of jobs and a job board that then matches an individual across multiple clients. So hopefully that helps address that point. I think there was another question, Chris, around the depth and breadth for healthcare in our data and in our capabilities. This is a fantastic point. I don't know that a lot of folks at the company even know this. I spent roughly 15 years in healthcare myself, both on the payer side and on the provider side, before ultimately moving to the med tech side for a little while, and then into proper tech, or high tech, I should say. So the healthcare skills and capabilities are blown out and fully capable within the platform. We've tested them not only across clinical roles, but also things like regulatory affairs, clinical operations, so on and so forth. And then of course, down the path of core clinical roles. Nursing is not just nursing. We understand the difference between ICU nursing and neonatal nursing, and so on and so forth. And so, yes, the healthcare capabilities are relatively precise in that manner.
Okay. How long is the average event on your platform, would you say?
Great question. So, I think what Quinn had laid out for us is a branched, what we call a branched event, where there is a central overview and then potentially breakouts. What we have seen be successful are typically 10 to 20 minute overview sessions, then with individual breakouts. Sometimes those breakouts happen right after those sessions, the overview session. Sometimes they're scheduled for the following day, with interviews interspersed between. But we typically found that 30 to 45 is the sweet spot for things like webinars. Of course, I say that as we hit the 45-minute mark. But we've typically seen the shorter the better. But we've also seen that Q&A can be a fantastic way to engage at scale. And so the Q&A function has been actually very helpful for event recruiting.
Gotcha. And is this, Tanya's asking, is this for strictly for enterprise level companies, or can a small company use it on a one-time basis?
Great question. We have clients that span from a couple 100,000 all the way down to a couple hundred people. Of course, the talent acquisition and talent management needs are fundamentally different, across those different scales of organizations. But the core needs from a talent acquisition perspective don't change. You want to be able to quickly identify high talent, high quality, high caliber talent that's matched with the roles you're hiring for at scale. And while the challenges are different in some respects, the mission is the same: is to recruit quickly and efficiently, and also, frankly, have the end-to-end platform that allows you to re-engage candidates down the line. I'll give a quick example on this front. I was training a client last summer, and I was giving an example in the platform in their instance, and one of the new recruiters said, "Why would I reach out to that person from our talent network? It looks like they were rejected from a job about a year ago. It was actually 9 months prior to that. I don't want to reach out to anyone that we've rejected before." And so we clicked into that individual's profile, and it turns out they'd applied for a senior data scientist role, and they'd been rejected because they were not qualified enough. but they showed as a high quality match for a data scientist role, not a senior data scientist role. And I couldn't have planned it better. There was a recruiter in the back of the room who piped up, "Hey, I remember that guy. He was great. He was just not quite senior data scientist, but for a data scientist, I think he could be a great fit." And so they fired an email off to that person, and they got an email back within about 20 minutes. And the email said, I wish I saved it. The email said, when I got the rejection email saying you'd keep my resume on file and you'd be back in touch if there was ever an opportunity for me, I thought that was a polite way of saying never apply here again, and then you'll never hear from us again. I can't believe you actually kept my resume and you remembered me.
It's actually true. I can't believe it.
I mean, it was a remarkable experience. He's like, yes, of course I'd love to work at this company. And then he came back in the interview loop. And so, the rediscovery of skills and of talents, hopefully that vignette helps underscore, that company was a small one. It was a 150 person company at the time. But it underscores the ability for a company to stay in touch with former applicants as one component of their talent pool.
Nice. Can we transfer applications from the FAIR to the regular ATS?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a core component of how we think about the talent, your talent network. So typically, and in current modalities, recruiting is one-to-one. One recruiter is focused on one role and is looking for one candidate to fill that. And the candidate, what you're threading there are needles of the right candidate at the right time for the right job, right? And that's very, very difficult to thread those needles. With the talent network and the talent pool that you pull together, ultimately, all of your candidates, we are assessing their skills, capabilities, and potential for what they will do next in their careers at all times, and we map them against each individual role. So as a recruiter looks at their slate, they're able to see who are all of the candidates or people in my talent network that would be a good fit for this role. Now, it could be that the data scientist I talked about a moment ago could be a great fit also for a front-end engineer role. Maybe that was an experience they had in the past. They would show up in both of those pipelines because we understand their skills and capabilities. It's really then becomes a question of what do they want to do next? In fact, the recruiter's view in the platform itself, when they look up an individual, is here are all the roles at my company that this person is a good fit for. That changes the way and the nature of outreach. It says, hey, Quinn, you could be a fit for 7 or 8 roles here. Here's a list of those roles. Would you want to come talk to me about applying to my company? Which is a fundamentally different way to engage a candidate at scale.
Yeah, definitely. Tracy's back. Can she hear us?
I can hear you. Yes.
Hey, Tracy.
Power.
We got about 10 more minutes, guys. So what do you feel free to?
Yeah, great. So I think there were a couple other questions that we've seen in the past or that we've heard in the past. And Tracy, would love for you to talk through some of these. One of them is around the way that recruiters collaborate, not only with other folks in the talent acquisition organization, but also with hiring managers. So can you talk a little bit about not only your experience with Visa, but also the product itself and how we enable collaboration?
Absolutely. So, many of you have probably been to an event before, so you have the real live knowledge of having to coordinate the hiring managers for each of the roles that you're recruiting for, how you need to create branding and marketing for those people, and you need to also actually share knowledge about your company. So it's a coordination and collaboration with the marketing team to understand how do we get people to not only view us as a place where they can work, but in some cases it's a crossover to they are a consumer of your brand as well. They actually buy your product. So you're touching on several different points. And the beauty of this platform is that it allows the company to set up a landing page that engages, not only they can engage at the company level to bring people in and learn more about the company, they can, as Quinn mentioned, segment off to have breakout sessions where they can learn more about different departments or the culture or the environment of the company. But then there is the direct access for recruiters to plug people straight into a conversation with a hiring manager. And there is a scheduling. I think I did lose some ability when I was walking from outside to inside, but I'm sure Quinn covered the fact that this scheduling component can be done seamlessly and quickly, so that there is literally the time that it takes is way less time than it would be in a normal, especially live recruiting event. So you have a benefit here of efficiency and being able to do this at scale.
Thanks, Tracy. So one of the other questions we've received is what the average implementation time is to get Eightfold up and running. So when we sign with a client, we typically, let me describe a little bit about the process. We deeply engage to understand what we call a discovery component, which is which parts of the platform are going to be most valuable to your organization, so that we can sequence out how do we accelerate different parts of the engagement and of the implementation, so that clients get value much more quickly than waiting for everything to get set up at once and then a grand on switch. And so, it's very much on a case-by-case basis. We spend, maybe a week deeply understanding your needs, your capabilities, short, medium, and long term. And then we work with you for what that rollout will look like, not only across your TA team, but potentially bringing in hiring managers, your talent, your L&D organization, your internal talent management organization. How do we want to sequence and case that out? So we have integrated with virtually every ATS you can name. Of course, SuccessFactors, Workday, JobVite, Lever, Greenhouse, the big ones, down to some of the really bespoke ones, like Darwinbox, some of the older ones like UltiPro. So you name it, we will find a way to work with you to deliver a solution that you need.
Nice. Any of your clients have any events coming up?
That's a great question. We'll follow up with the attendees on that. We'll do a little bit of research to see if there's any virtual event recruiting capabilities coming up. Certainly, we've had a few use them to date, especially in the current environment, both for impacted and hiring positions.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we're basically out of time here, so I want to thank the team from Eightfold joining us today. Pretty cool product. I love the QR stuff. It was really cool in terms of that experience for the candidate overall, which is so important these days. You got to make it easy for them to apply and to join, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your time. We value the opportunity to share what we're doing with the world. Thanks, Quinn, of course, and Tracy. And finally, thanks all the attendees. I do want to just quickly plug our talent exchange again. It is, I'm actually heading in 5 minutes to a meeting about it again, and it is central to what we're doing and why we joined Eightfold. Right, we're a very mission-driven company that way. So please visit eightfold.ai. We would love for your help, assistance in any way, shape, or form. In the future, we'll likely be putting on resume review services with volunteers to help those who are impacted, create resumes and profiles. And we certainly by ourselves can't do that, and we would love to have volunteers with it. And I think together through the exchange, we can really make a difference on flattening the unemployment curve in the coming months.
Awesome. All right. Well, Mahir, Tracy, and Quinn, again, thank you for joining us today on RecTech Live. We'll see you soon. Come back anytime. And that's going to do it for today's show, everyone. So again, thanks for joining us, and replay will be available in a few minutes on the same link. And have a great day, everyone. See you next time.
Thanks, Chris. Bye.